All right, let's jump right in. Today we're diving into the heart of SAP's quality management module, specifically for S4HANA. We're going to break down, piece by piece, the essential master data you need to set up for quality inspections that happen right inside your production process. So let's get to it. So picture this. You're a quality planner, right? And a new task just landed on your desk. You need to set up a brand new inspection process for manufacturing. You know there are a ton of moving parts, so where do you even begin? It can feel a little overwhelming, but that's exactly the puzzle we're going to solve today. And we've got a really clear roadmap to get us there. First, we'll talk about a planner's core mission. Then we're going to walk through the 4 big questions you have to answer. Which material? When do we inspect? What are the steps? And what exactly are we checking? And then at the end, we'll pull it all together into one simple master data blueprint. Okay, first things first. Let's define our main goal here. At the end of the day, our entire objective is to make quality inspections a smooth, integrated part of the production lifecycle. Now, this really breaks down into 2 main goals. The first is enabling inspections during the production process itself, while the product is actually being made. And the second is enabling inspections after production is all done, when you're receiving that finished product into stock. These are the 2 big scenarios we're building. So, with our goals defined, where do we actually start in the system? Well, it all begins with the most fundamental building block you can think of, the material itself. Before you can do anything else, the system needs to know the answer to a very simple question. Which specific material are we actually talking about here? You can't just set up a generic inspection. It's got to be tied to a specific product. And the answer to that question is found right inside the material master record. This is ground zero. You literally go into the master data for that material and you flip a switch. You do this by assigning and activating what's called an inspection type. That's what tells SAP, hey, pay attention, this material needs a quality check. Okay, so we've flagged the material for inspection. Now we get to the next really critical decision. When are we going to do this check? Because this choice, well, it changes everything about how we set it up. So the big question for the system is this. Are we checking this thing while it's still on the production line or after it's a finished product? The system has to know which path we're going down. Now, here's the really cool part, how SAP handles this. It all comes down to a code called the inspection lot origin. If you want to inspect during production, you're going to use an inspection type that's tied to origin 03. If you want to inspect the finished good after production, you'll use one tied to origin 04. These 2 numbers, 03 and 04, are basically the magic keys that tell the system exactly when to create that inspection lot. And here's a great little tip about how flexible the system is. You don't have to choose just one. If your process needs it, you can absolutely activate both an 03 and an 04 inspection type for the same material. You can run checks both during and after production. No problem. All right, we know the what. That's our material. We know the when. That's our origin 03 or 04. So now we've got to define the how. We need to create the step-by-step instruction manual for the quality inspector. So where do we actually write down this procedure? What are the specific tasks that the quality technician has to perform during the check? And this is where it gets really clever, because the when directly impacts the how. For those in-process inspections, our origin 03 type, the inspection steps are actually built right into the production master data, into the routing or the recipe. But for the goods receipt inspections, our origin 04 type, the steps live in a completely separate piece of master data called an inspection plan. It's a really important distinction. We are almost there, I promise. We have the material, we have the timing, and we have the procedure. Now we just need to get down to the most granular detail. What specific things are we actually going to measure or check? So when that inspector is standing there with the part in their hand, what are they actually looking for? Are we measuring its length, checking its color, testing its concentration? What are the actual data points we need to capture? The answer to that question is yet another piece of master data called an inspection characteristic. Think of it this way. Every single thing you check, length, weight, color, pH level, you name it, is its very own master inspection characteristic. It's like a reusable little building block for all your quality plans. And these characteristics really fall into 2 main buckets. You've got your qualitative or attribute checks. These are usually simple pass-fail questions like, is the label on straight or is the color correct? Then you have your quantitative or variable checks. That's where you're recording an actual number, like what is the concentration, what is the length, or what is the power consumption. Okay, we've looked at all the individual pieces of this big puzzle. So now, let's take a step back and see how they all connect together to form one single cohesive blueprint. And here it is, the whole logical flow. It all kicks off in the material master, where you assign an inspection type. That inspection type tells the system the timing, using origin 03 or 04. And based on that timing, the system knows whether to look at the routing or a separate inspection plan to find the steps. And then, finally, embedded in those steps are the specific inspection characteristics that tell you exactly what to measure. See how it all connects? So here's the most crucial point to take away from all this. What might seem like a really complex setup is actually just a super logical chain of master data. Each piece exists simply to answer one of those core questions: what, when, how, and what specifically. Once you see it that way, as just a chain of answers, it all just clicks. And there you have it. That's the blueprint for setting up production inspections in SAP. You now understand the key pieces of master data and, more importantly, the logic that connects them all. You've got the what and the why, so now the real question is, how do you go master the how inside the system?